Mariners lose 9-4. They drop the second game of the 3-game series against the Boston Red Sox, and they fall to 21-21 on the year. Sorry, this one's a little later. These will happen a little more on Wednesdays that I'm going to have to get up early to record them because I work until 10 and I can be pretty darn tired, but I do promise that I will always recap every single Mariner baseball game. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, all that stuff. Let's talk about how this one happens. Really bad first inning. Mariners don't score. Then Yoshida. I'm sorry. I'm very tired and I'm going to struggle. And I'm a little bit cranky about this game, to be completely honest with you, too. Still, triples to center to score Alex Verdugo. Trey Turner homers to score Yoshida. And Tristan Casas homers. 4-0 at the end of the first inning. Mariners crawl back in the fourth inning. Teoscar Hernandez triples to center on a horrible play by Jarren Duran to score a Eugenio Suarez big dumper. And Taylor Trammell takes advantage of the really stupid park to homer to score Teoscar Hernandez to make it 4-4. Another bad inning for Castillo in the fifth. Yoshida hits a ground rule double. Yoshida scores on a wild pitch. Jarren Duran makes up for it with a homer to center to make it 7-4. Jarren Duran singles in a run in the seventh to score Alex Verdugo, and Yoshida grounds out to first to score Reese McGuire. All right, let's, start with some positives because there's some negatives to talk about here. Teoscar Hernandez is hitting the baseball really well right now. It's, you take a look at a line of 242, 282, 430. That's not really indicative of how he's playing right now. It's been nice to see him have some success. I think you probably need to start talking about moving him up in the lineup. Yeah, that's pretty much Taylor Cetto again. Looks great. That's about it for real positives in this game. And good for Taylor Trammell for hitting the homer. It's nice to see some success for him, even if it was in the weird park, or only because of the weird park, if we're being completely honest. That's about it. Cal Raleigh reaches twice. Great to see some success for him. Eugenio Suarez reaches 3 times. Still not driving the baseball, though he did homer yesterday, so a little bit of patience there. Okay. Let's get into it. Luis Castillo. Very much hurt by his defense. Was not their best effort. We'll talk about that in a little bit, of course. But he wasn't good enough yesterday. Flat out wasn't. And this is now 4 out of 5 really starts where he hasn't been good enough. Now, some of that has to do with expectations, right? Because it's not like he's been awful. Today was bad, or yesterday again was bad. A unacceptable start. But because of how well he's pitched in the past, and especially with how he's pitched as a Mariner for the most part, Luis Castillo has borderline unrealistic expectations. And you do put more emphasis on when your ace is pitching that, like, this is a game that you should win. This is a game that if your offense scores 4 runs like they did, admittedly, it was just 1 inning of good offense, they should win. And here's what I want to talk about mostly. I want to talk about how disappointment and concern are not the same thing. And they can be mutually inclusive. Or they can be inclusive, not mutually. And they can be exclusive. And they can, have the opposite. You can be disappointed and not concerned. And you can be concerned and not disappointed. I'll give you an example of that. Uh, I am not disappointed at all with how JP Crawford has played. I am concerned, based on his track record, that it's sustainable. Because we've seen him get off to really hot starts and it fall. And the opposite here is that I am disappointed with how Julio Rodriguez has played, results, and how Luis Castillo has pitched over the last couple of months. Not a couple months, last whatever the heck it would be. Month, really, I guess. But I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned. And I think sometimes people take it that if you say you're not concerned, that you think that these results are acceptable or what you want to see. And that's stupid. Because of course that's not right. Of course I want to see him pitch better. Of course I want to see Luis Castillo have a ERA in the low twos. It's amazing that with his struggles, this is a guy that still has a 3.31 ERA. I know ERA is a flawed stat. But you can be disappointed with what's going on and how there's been very little consistency for this team, and also not terribly concerned at the same time. And I think that's true for a lot of individual players. I think that's true about Luis Castillo right now. I think that's true about Julio right now. I think it's true about Eugenio Suarez right now. It was definitely true about Teoscar Hernandez, but again, he's been playing much better as of late. You know, you can be disappointed and still recognize that it's probably going to be a lot better. It's true about life. It's not just a baseball thing. You know, I am disappointed personally that I am not making as much money as I was when I was working with NBC. But am I concerned? Not really. Because I have a lot of faith in, I have faith, and I also have faith in my abilities that it's going to work out. And I like my new job, and I like that I'm getting to do a bunch of different things. There just seems to be this idea from folks that if you just don't say, I am disappointed and I'm concerned, that you're somehow making these results acceptable. Because 21-21 for the Seattle Mariners, folks, is not acceptable. In the terms of if this is not how we want the season to go, right? And this is not how the season should go. It's pretty easy to tell you that the Mariners are on pace to win 81 games. That would be a massive, massive disappointment. There are exceptions to what I'm talking about. I am not just disappointed with Kolten Wong. I am extremely concerned. And it is worth pointing out that he finally had another extra base hit. That gives him 3, I believe. Definitely gives him 3 doubles. But it's another absolutely terrible game from him. Defensively, and look, was Castillo good today? No. But he automatically gets off to a bad start because he gets Alex Verdugo to ground out meekly to second base, and Kolten Wong makes an error. And he doesn't get called for an error later in the game with Paul Sewald pitching in the 7th inning, which I thought was really interesting, by the way. I don't think it was a case of them giving up on the game, but it was clearly a case of we need to get this guy work. He hasn't pitched in a couple of days, and this is the game. If we give up runs here, it's over. Anyway, a meek little pop-up to second base that should be an automatic out. He just can't make the play. And it's not acceptable. I saw some people mention that Teoscar Hernandez probably should have made that play. I watched that play. There's no reason for Teoscar Hernandez to think that Kolten Wong isn't going to make that play literally until the ball drops. Like, as the ball drops is when he realizes that he's not going to make that play. And he has to make that play. You cannot have I'm just looking at the slash right here, so I could be off on what the actual OPS is. But the 259 on base percentage and 208 slugging percentage adds up to 457. 457. And you play defense like that, dude? Like, the bat has almost been better than the defense as for most of the year. That's not good. You got to start talking about an upgrade. As much as I am a non-believer, and it's not meant to be a huge insult to Jose Caballero. There's a good example of disappointment versus concern. Not disappointed in what he's done at all. Absolutely concerned that he can be a legitimate part of a playoff lineup. But he's got to start playing more. And when Dylan Moore does come back, and hopefully it's soon, Dylan Moore's got to play a lot of second base. And you've got to look at upgrading the position. Have to. This is no longer a small sample of or anything close to it. It is a quarter of the season. If I gave you a personal pan pizza and there's 4 pieces and one of the pieces is gone, you would not tell me that it's okay because it's a small sample. Can't happen. Have to look to upgrade, and it will be until when he's in the lineup, there's going to be a lot of paying close attention because, again, the Mariners chose this as their upgrade at second base. This is what they chose. They chose to go this route instead of looking at all of those beautiful middle infield options that were on the free agent market. Again, who knows if they would have actually signed. You got to want to be in Seattle. That was not a fart. That was my lips making a funny noise. I someday will fart on a mile away. Sorry for bringing up farts. Yeah, ugly game. Ugly game. But a lot of people keep asking me, am I concerned about Luis Castillo? Am I concerned? I get it. I totally understand because we are prisoners of the moment, and this is now 4 out of 5 starts that haven't been great. Haven't been off the wall terrible. This is easily his worst start of the year. But no, I'm not concerned. I am disappointed with the results, but I'm not concerned. Kind of thought today was going to be a getaway day, but it's not. You play at 4:10. Marco Gonzalez against Brian Bayo. It's a fun one, kind of. Be really nice to win this one to put a lot less pressure on the series against Atlanta. So Atlanta's really good. Atlanta is a good old baseball team. Boston's okay, but Atlanta's better. Really, really nice to win a series, to take 2 of the first 3 of this 9-game road trip, and then you get to go home against Oakland and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is completely falling apart, and I think we all know my thoughts on Oakland. Please hit like, please hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter at Crawford_MILB. So yeah, are you more concerned or disappointed? And did anything I said this morning make any sense?